Hello, this is Michael Tillinger. Today is the 17th of December, 2024, and this will be my last podcast for this year of 2024 because next week, this time, it'll be Christmas, and I'm heading home on Christmas to be with my family and to enjoy Christmas for what it's supposed to be. A wonderful getting together, family time, and finally unplugging from this insane year that we've just been through. So I'm looking forward to unpacking some more One Small Town initiatives, One Small Town ideologies, One Small Town philosophies, and some more inspirational content to hopefully help you end the year on a high note. Because if the one message I'd like to get through to everybody is that One Small Town is really one of the, if not the most exciting thing happening in the world today. And I believe that if we don't succeed with One Small Town, we may find ourselves in a miserable world. So we've got to do whatever we can to make sure we succeed. And believe me, we're doing whatever we can. And you, those of you that have joined One Small Town, have been part of it for so many years now and are growing and joining on a weekly and a monthly basis. You're all making, and we're all making One Small Town a success together. We're building it together. We're growing it together. And in many ways, like I've been saying for many years now, we are the ones we've been waiting for. We're not waiting for anybody to help us. We're not waiting for government handouts or companies or corporations to create jobs for us. We're doing this for ourselves. We're doing it together, and we're building One Small Town into what will be, I believe, in the next few years, the most significant initiative that has emerged around the world, with thousands upon thousands of small towns all connected together, all sharing and trading and exchanging, using the common denominators that we've created for the One Small Town members, and creating abundance and prosperity for all our members everywhere. Remember, One Small Town is it's a free will initiative. No one is forced to join us. So only people that really feel called and believe they can help, and people that believe they can either contribute something, or people that are desperate to find something new and make sure that we grow this, we're doing this together. So today I'm going to start basically by saying what I've been asking for many, many years as I've been doing my lectures and workshops around the world. I'm going to start the same way I've been starting for so many years, and that is, are you happy with your life? Are you happy with the way the world is going? Are you happy with what the governments are doing in your name? Remember that we all believe we vote for the people that represent us in government. Are you happy with what the governments and the government officials are doing on your behalf? Are you happy with the way things are going? Are you happy with the education system? Are you happy with the healthcare? Are you happy with the work systems? With the ability to travel? Are you happy with the development and science and technology that's been handed down to us from the universities and the research labs? Is all this stuff helping you? Is all this incredible research and technology that's been developed on so many levels, at the highest levels of all the universities around the world, are you feeling the benefit of all that research that is taking billions and billions, if not trillions of dollars every year into all these research institutions at our tertiary educations and other labs? Are you feeling the benefit of that? Do you feel that you are living in a world where your children will have a better chance of success and a better chance to live a fulfilled, a beautiful life, a better chance than you? And quite frankly, I don't feel that about the current situation, but I feel it about the future of One Small Town. That I know is going to provide us with all these things that most of us are looking for and are striving for. And what I've been finding is that there are so many people that share this idea of One Small Town. They share the philosophy. So many millions of people, it could be billions of people, that are looking for a better world and a better future and a better environment to live in, better, more cohesive communities, easier ways of doing things, better healthcare, better financial systems, better education, better transport. Everything in our lives has become more and more complex. Every year, every month, our governments make new rules, new regulations that come with a whole bunch of bureaucratic red tape and BS that restrict more of our rights. And it's just getting worse and worse. There's a very interesting moment and a window of opportunity with what's happening in the USA. I'm sure everyone is aware of it now because of the attention it's been getting with DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, and there is a slight possibility, or let me say there's a distinct possibility, and without getting political now, because Once More Town is not a political organization or a political initiative. I do believe that there is a window of opportunity to break down the governmental bureaucracy that has evolved over many, many decades and hamstrung the people and prevented people from achieving their dreams, achieving their goals, starting businesses they would love to start because of the bureaucratic red tape and BS that makes it so difficult to even start up a new business and so difficult to comply with this and comply with that and fill this form in triplicate and so forth. You know how difficult it is. Oh my goodness, just to get a permit to do this or that, or recycle water, or pump ocean water to desalinate water, or get a borehole into the ground so you can water your crops, or all these horrible, terrible laws that are in so many ways anti-human rights, anti-fundamental first principle rights of survival. So many rules and restrictions that are preventing us from leading beautiful lives of prosperity and abundance, that prevent us from doing the basic things to have beautiful lives and to create a beautiful future for ourselves and our children, our families, and ultimately for our communities. So I know that I've been asking this question for at least 15 years. Are you happy with the way the world is going? And I can tell you that in all these years, no one has ever put up their hand. And that is clearly an indication that something is desperately wrong. Many people have a very clear understanding of what is going on. Some people are just blissfully ignorant about what's going on and why life is so hard and why it's getting harder every day. And that is clearly an indication that we have to do something about it. And Once More Town is that initiative that is doing something about it. But while the solutions might be simple, and some of the ideas are fundamentally the basic, obvious, logical ideas that anyone would come up with, and that most people come up with. Well, if we want to have successful lives and this and that, we should do this and that and that. And so the solutions and the ideas are common. So many people have the same ideas, like me, and like so many people that have joined me over the years in the Once More Town initiative, and has now grown into this global movement. The ideas are simple, but the moment you try and implement it, things change, and you start to realize that the system, our governments and the system, has put up so many obstacles and so many hurdles. So even just to launch Once More Town has become an interesting and quite a complex exercise in navigating between all the barriers and the hurdles that have been thrown in our way. And that's what we're doing. We are winning. We are beating it. We are using those tools of those obstacles and the tools of enslavement as tools of liberation to help us. And so where am I going with this? All I'm really trying to make you do is ask yourself that question. Am I happy with my life? Am I happy with the way the world is going? Do I see a really positive, bright light at the end of the year of 2025? How do I see that, that time being? Is it going to be good for me, for my children, my family? Do I see myself in a perfect, beautiful place? And most people don't feel that optimistic. This is what Once More Town is all about. And if your answer is that you're not sure, then Once More Town is the place for you. And I would suggest join us, sign up as a member, stop worrying about this and worrying about that. Remember, every action needs Every idea needs some action, and without action, there's going to be no energy going forward. We need to do something. We're the ones we've been waiting for. We're not waiting for anybody. We're doing this for ourselves, but we have to do the work. I can't be doing the work for you, for your family, for your community. You need to make that decision. I'm going to join. I'm going to do what I can in my community with my family on my own. And this way, we're going to grow this thing. And 2025 is going to be a historic year of unbelievable proportion, especially if everything that we've been doing with our new technology, when that comes off the line now, and that's going to start helping to fund our initiative into 2025. And we are no longer reliant on donations and donors and patrons to fund our expenses and our monthly operating costs. The moment we are not dependent on that, and we have secured our own funding that keeps growing every month because of the nature of the specific technology that we've developed, that will go into every country wherever we launch One Small Town. That technology and the business of that technology will go with it to help fund that office in each country and each community. The moment we've achieved that, and that's coming literally off the production line as I'm speaking to you. So 2025, we predict, and I predict, is going to be an absolutely historical year with rapid growth, rapid expansion of the One Small Town movement, with many small towns coming on board, with many ambassadors signing up, with very clear guidelines, very clear indicators as to what is expected of them, what they need to do, what you as an ambassador should put together, the 12-month to 24-month plan, and then the implementation of those plans. That's going to be one of the most exciting times in the last 20 years since I've started talking about this beautiful utopian future for humanity. So that's really my opening message to everybody. We're leaving 2024 behind. It was a very exciting year with a lot of turbulence, a lot of stress and anxiety, especially for me, so many highs and lows. But we're coming to the end of 2024 with incredible achievements, an incredible foundation and a platform to reach unprecedented heights of success with One Small Town around the world. So let me move on to the next sort of rollout into what have been our biggest lessons, our biggest experiences, and our biggest lessons with One Small Town. And I've sort of touched upon it already in my little preamble here, and that is that there are millions and millions of people who really resonate with One Small Town, resonate with the philosophy, resonate with the idea, understand that money is not always the solution, that money is the means and money is the tool that can help us and is certainly necessary for us to achieve the prosperity and abundance into the future. But money is just a tool. So we need to understand what it is, and we need to use it wisely. And so many people are looking for something different. There are billions of people looking for something new. That's certainly one of the biggest lessons. And we've also understood that just because people, well, not understood, but learned, just because people share the same vision and share the end goal, doesn't mean that they also share the same idea of how we're going to get there. And that's been probably one of the most surprising lessons that I have learned personally. And we, as the One Small Town management team, have learned together as we go. As we've been trying to implement this in various towns and failed here and succeeded in this thing and succeeded there and failed that didn't work, this didn't work. When I say fail, I don't mean fail. I say we tried something and that didn't work, so we had to readjust our thinking, and then we do it in a different way. So like I said last week, there is no failure. There's just a sequence of lessons that we learn, and we learn from what we've done. If it didn't work, and we come back and we change it and we implement it a different way and make sure that it succeeds the next time around. So our biggest among the biggest lessons. There have been many lessons. There isn't really one biggest lesson. There probably might be some bigger lessons than others. You know, like for example, I mentioned before as well, is that we've really found it difficult to or challenging to identify or choose the way, use the correct way I must choose my words carefully here. Find the correct way to identify the best people to be ambassadors for one small town. And that was probably our biggest lesson. Just because somebody puts their hand up or they email you and say, listen, I love what you're doing. I want to be your ambassador in this country or in that town or in this state, it doesn't mean that they're suitable to do that job. They might be beautiful, wonderful people, but they may not have the right skill set to actually be an ambassador because it's really because this has never been done before. And again, remember that we're doing something that's never been done before. This is not just an intentional community. We are not creating intentional communities where people move together onto a piece of land and start growing some food and all that kind of stuff that I've been through sort of ad nauseum by now, right? We're not doing that. We're doing something infinitely more complex and powerful and sustainable. So one of the key things we've learned is to find the best mechanism to identify the best caliber ambassadors. And I think that's probably one of the highlights and the high notes and achievements that we ending 2024 on, is we now have a very clear set of questions and profiling structure of how to find the best qualified people to take on the role of ambassador, whether it's for a country or an ambassador for a town. And there's subtle differences between even those two, right? So, and in essence, the ambassador must be somebody that's highly experienced in business management, managing a large company or a large business with many departments, with many people, because that's ultimately what the ambassador will be doing. Setting up a one small town management team with business planners and project managers, and accountants and subject specialists from agriculture to engineering to technology to IT to social media, and so forth, right? So somebody that knows how to manage a group of people and how to get the best out of that group of people so that they can go and implement one small town in the community, find the best community leaders, implement the community upliftment projects, write the best business plans with the best return on investment for your community, so that when you have put your 12-month plan together, you already have business plans that will attract investors, whether it's from your own community or whether it's from outside communities or abroad. So that, I guess, has been our biggest lesson, to find the best ambassadors. And while we've had some incredible ambassadors, there are beautiful people that sign up over the years. At one stage, we had ambassadors in more than 40 countries, or 40 ambassadors around the world, with interest in and members sign up in about 60 countries. That is all filtered down to a handful of ambassadors who now truly fit the profile and understand what is required, because this is a big thing that we're doing. This is not a little thing. You know, one small town has got the word small in it, but it's potentially one of the biggest and most important initiatives that's happening in the world right now. And I just love that contrast. One small town that could possibly have the biggest effect on the world in 2025. I love that kind of idea. So that's been one of our biggest lessons that we've learned, unquestionably. And the other thing, as I mentioned, or I touched upon it, great ideas are great. And it's wonderful. We need lots of great ideas and lots of great plans and great visions. But unfortunately, none of those are useful to us unless we have great plans and good, solid plans to implement those great ideas. Otherwise, they'll just remain great ideas and they'll end up in file 13 and never achieve anything. So we can come up with the best ideas and the best upliftment projects and this and motivational things and best business ideas and best, unless we write the business plans, unless we put it into practice. And then we take those business plans and we find the best project managers to actually initiate those businesses and find the funding and launch it. As I said, whether it's we funding it ourselves as a community or find external funders, without action, there'll be no reaction. There'll be no progress. So we must come up with great ideas, great innovative ideas, thinking out of the box, identifying what we as a community can do with skills that are available to us in our community, with materials and raw materials and resources that are available to us in our community. You know, you might be living in the desert somewhere where sand is abundant, where brick making and glass factories and that kind of stuff, you know, I'm just throwing wild ideas at you, could be obvious solutions. And you know, building sand and so forth. You might live in the mountains where there's lots of forests and so forth. So there could be all forestry and lumber industry related activities happening in your community. So you might be living in an area where fruit growing is predominant, or vegetable farming is predominant, or looking after wildlife and game reserves and you know, wild animals, or tourism or whatever. In every community, every initiative is completely unique based on your existing circumstances. And it's up to you and your community to think out of the box and identify those opportunities and what's available to you, from small businesses that are immediately available with very little startup funds, to medium and large businesses that will require larger funding and that'll turn out to be big, global, powerful companies that you as a community own. And that's really what it's about. So the other thing we've learned is that don't act hastily. Don't try and rush things. And boy, because of the excitement of One Small Town, and I guess I've been at fault many times over the last several years, because you know, I get excited and I get everyone that's working with me excited about it, and we've made mistakes where we just get so excited and we go rush into something and we say, wow, let's do this, let's do that, and then we realize we haven't done enough planning and preparation, and it turns out that we weren't ready for it. We just didn't do our homework, and we have to retreat and start again, or plan it for a later time or a later date. So take it easy, take it slowly, don't be in a rush, plan and do things properly. So, excuse me. Plan things and do things properly, and build strong foundations. Write good plans, good implementation strategies, and build strong foundations for everything that you do. And among those foundations, connected to those plans built on solid foundations in your One Small Town community, are what we call the cornerstone projects, the cornerstone businesses. And those cornerstone businesses is what we've learned the hard way. Without those four cornerstone activities, it's going to be very difficult to launch One Small Town successfully, because these cornerstone activities go to the heart and the soul of the people. They bring the community together for the right reasons. They bring the people together for the reasons that are both, you know, personal, of personal survival and personal future prosperity and abundance and so forth, but also for personal reasons that are often difficult to quantify. It just makes you feel good to do something for your community and be part of a greater team and a greater spirit and cooperation, and that whole camaraderie feeling when you get together every day or every week and you do certain things together. And then you go and have a beer at the pub, or go and have a barbecue or a braai, wherever you may be, you know, hang out by the river or by the ocean, or you know, at the dam, at the lake, and just all these things that we do that give us that sense of achievement as individuals, as families, and as communities. These are really important. They all start to work together and start work cohesively. So those cornerstone projects are, first of all, the community kitchen. And we need to make sure that we have a community kitchen set up to reward our members with at least one good plate of food at the end of their 3-hour shifts. And that's a game changer, especially in countries where there's extreme poverty and extreme hunger. And that will change from town to town, depends on what kind of country it is. And those community kitchens will take on a completely different profile and a different look and feel based on where you are and what services they're going to provide to your members, right? So that's one of the four cornerstone projects. Then the One Small Town store. We need to find a venue, and preferably a large venue, like a big warehouse or a big barn, or we build one. So it's really large, because the back end of it is the warehouse where we deposit all the produce and the things that we buy and the things that we manufacture. So that becomes the warehouse and the distribution and the packaging warehouse for One Small Town, while the front part of it, just a small area in the front, becomes the retail part of the One Small Town store, the One Small Town trading store. And I'm not going to go into the detail because I've done that already, and I'll probably do it again. So the One Small Town store, trading store, is a critical part of the future success of your One Small Town community, because that is where your members will come and get their monthly baskets of goods, and exchange their goods for other goods, or exchange goods for tokens. It becomes a proper trading store that operates without fiat currency, without the need for having cash in your pocket, by simply being a member of One Small Town. That is why it's such a key, critical game changer within the One Small Town community. Thirdly is arts, culture, sports, recreation. We have to be actively involved in our communities with all kinds of arts, sports, culture, recreation. The more we do in that area, the more it brings people together. You know, it is, if we remove that, if we don't reignite the artistic, the cultural, the artistic spirit, and the spirit for sports and participation and so forth, it really, our communities are devoid of a soul. It's like the community is soulless if we don't have a strong representation of arts and culture and sporting activities as part of that. I know some people may not agree with this. Some people might sort of think that sport is something different, but yet sport brings people together, and on so many levels, and people connect and interact on so many levels, that it's often missed how important that kind of connectedness is. So sports, arts, culture, sports, recreation, and that will also obviously involve tourism and things like that. And then finally, security. Security for our businesses, security for our homes, security for our farms, for our farmers, for our food storage, for everything that we do. And that security business can also become a very good fundraising, or not a fundraising, a profit generating, I guess fundraising, but a profit generating business, because we as a community will own and run that security business to make sure that we secure all our things that we own, that we've created for ourselves, and we provide our security services to all the other companies in our town and in the neighboring or close by cities. So it can expand from there. With these four cornerstones and all the other ideologies and visions and plans and implementation strategies, the moment we start to implement this, it's going to be very difficult for One Small Town to fail. And I say this from experience. The moment you drive down the road and you see 20 or 50 or 100 people with One Small Town t-shirts working next to the road, or planting flowers, or cleaning the riverside, or doing something, or, feeding the homeless, or whatever it is that you're doing. The moment you see a group of people with their One Small Town t-shirts, that's going to make you stop and go, wow, what's going on here? Who are these people? What is this One Small Town thing all about? I like what they're doing. It resonates with me. I want to be part of it. And that's what's going to happen, because that's what happened when I initiated this on a very low level scale with very little funding in my little town of Watervalboven in Mpumalanga, South Africa. It was unbelievable to see how it just drew people together when we started to renovate our town hall, fixing all the things, because people started to feel that they were building something for themselves, building something for their community. And this is why you'll probably hear me say in some of the talks of the past, where I've been referring to, finding, using like the Once More Town Art Gallery as a potential project for the community to start building together. Get the artists to come design it, get the architects to design it, get the artists to come and decorate it and make it an art project. So the gallery itself becomes an artistic, a piece of art itself. And then the art gallery becomes the central point where so many artistic and cultural activities can take place. It could be a town hall that is part of a theater. That's a theater and a town hall, so you can have town community meetings and you can have concerts and theatrical productions and so forth. It could be that. It's what I did in my town. We fixed the town hall with all the things, the ladies' bar then we put a gym in there, and we fixed the toilets, and it was just a fantastic place to go. And we had a lot of great events, and we also had the kitchen in there that actually cooked the food, that helped that cooked the meals for the people that would contribute their 3 hours every day, whether it was helping to fix the town hall and all the adjacent buildings and sports fields, because from there it went out into the sports fields, into the soccer, into the netball, and volleyball, and I forget what other sports we got involved in at the time, but it was mostly soccer, um, and it just created such an incredible community spirit. So I know what happens when people drive down the road and they see this kind of community activity. It's absolutely incredible how powerful that is. And it makes people want to join you, because people inherently want to be part of something good, something that's building and growing something. I know that when I see destruction and dilapidation and deserted farms and deserted buildings and deserted, hotels and shops and warehouses, it breaks my heart. And I immediately start thinking, and I know that there are millions of people that think like me. I immediately start thinking about, what can we do with this empty barn? How can we take this empty, deserted motel and fix it up? How can this help our community? How can we take the street that's filled with empty shops? What can we do here that'll help our community, stimulate our community? So these are the kind of things that you're going to start thinking about as you get more and more involved in One Small Town in your community, because that's what happens. It's just a natural knee-jerk reaction, and it's a beautiful thing, really a beautiful thing to happen. So what the other things, so I was talking about the strong foundation and the 4 cornerstone projects, how important that is. What happens often is, or let me rather rephrase that. I've often wondered about this thing called nostalgia. What is nostalgia, right? It's a strange thing, isn't it? Nostalgia is, we are thinking back on the good old days, right? The good old days when life was a lot easier and things were easy and life was easy and things were cheap and it was, the days were long. The days seemed a lot longer. We could achieve so much more. I mean, I remember when I was a little boy, the days seemed to go on forever, right? And even as a teenager and so on, the days were long. Now the days seem like a few hours, a fraction of what they used to. It's because of all the noise in our lives, the noise from social media, our cell phones, all the stuff, distractions, the ease of access of information, the ease of communication, the ease of getting things and ordering things and doing things. And it has created so many complications and so many activities that it feels like our lives are speeding up, like the world is speeding up, feels like time is speeding up. So nostalgia is a major part of many people's sort of levels of depression, because we think of the good old days. We think of, I wish the world was like it was when I was, 10 years old or 12 years old. And I know that there are billions of people that feel the same way. So what does that mean? And it means that we believe that life was better then. So with all the so-called progress, all the so-called inventions, innovation in all the areas and spheres of our lives, including transport and education and communication, we feel that life was better when we were younger. There's something wrong with that, isn't it? It means that things are not getting better, things are getting worse. If we are nostalgic and we yearn and long for the good old days, that means things are not getting better. So what are we going to do about it? Well, at least you're on the right channel and you're listening to the right message. One Small Town is the thing that's been done about it. So we bring back that kind of beautiful, easy living where you don't feel stressed, or you don't feel anxiety when you wake up in the morning wondering where you're going to have enough food to put on the table to feed your children or your family. Because in our One Small Town community, there is no one homeless, no one hungry, no one without something to do, no one without the capacity or the ability to follow their dreams and follow their passion and follow their natural God-given talents and skills to be able to fulfill their souls and to be able to do what they naturally predisposed and good at, so that that natural talent is what drives them. Their passion is what drives them, makes them wake up every morning. And that passion and the quality of delivery, the quality of that skill that they deliver because they're passionate about it, that's the quality that the rest of the community is going to love about you and will respect you for, and will hold you in high regard and will honor you because you're doing these amazing things for not just for yourself, but for your community. And that's what One Small Town is all about, to give us all the same chance and the same opportunity. No one is excluded, everyone is invited, but it's a voluntary membership. And when you enter, when you join, then we do things the One Small Town way. Otherwise, we undermine it. And each of us has to contribute 3 hours a week towards benefiting and uplifting our community, just in case you forgot that. But if you want to contribute more than that, you're welcome to do that. And every time you contribute 3 hours, you earn yourself an infinity token. I've said enough about the infinity tokens. I'll talk a lot more about it. Please read about it on our website. It is an asset-backed community token. It is not just some volatile thing that's made up by somebody because they want to launch some weird cryptocurrency to make billions of dollars. This is something completely different. First of all, it is not a cryptocurrency. It is an asset-backed community token backed by true sweat equity of you, of me, of all our members in One Small Town around the world. So it has true value, and it will continue growing, not only in value, but in demand, because of the way that the infinity tokens are created and the way we earn them as we contribute towards our communities. It's a beautiful thing. There is no other community token like it in the world. So where am I going with this? Am I getting caught up in going around in circles here? Quite possibly, because I do that quite often. Right. Nostalgia. That's what I was talking about. Nostalgia. So because things are not getting better, we believe things are actually worse now than they were when we were younger. We're doing something about it, right? So you're on the right channel. So let's go out there and make 2025 the most unbelievable, memorable, and historic year that all of us could ever possibly imagine. So now I'm going to take us down a slightly different rabbit hole, and that is education. Education is one of the things that so many people email me about and so many people want to talk to me about. And I want to tell you that it is one of the, I have many things close to my heart. The entire One Small Town initiative is, it's part of my DNA, right? I breathe it, I sleep it, I breathe it, I dream it, I live it. It's been part of my DNA for the last 20 years. But there are, every now and then, I grab a hold of one thread, and education is one of those threads that I've grabbed a hold of on several occasions. And then I go down this rabbit hole and I work on what is the education system going to look like? How is that going to evolve in our One Small Town communities? So keep in mind that the towns, as they are around the world, they have their schools, they have their colleges and universities if they are in the towns. Most small towns don't have colleges and universities, but they have schools, from kindergarten schools to primary schools to high schools and whatever other system that you might have in your country. So that's there. We can't change that. But what we can do is we can start creating a slightly new alternative. And it all depends what the restrictions and regulations are in your community, in your country. You'll have to come up with an education plan that is going to that's going to be capable and allowed and permissible. So whatever strings you have to pull, or whatever laws and legislations or forms you have to fill in to do it properly and not to fight the system, make sure that you can create or launch a school that runs, whether it's the Waldorf school or these other crazy schools that you can find, the amazing schools. And I say crazy, I mean crazily amazing schools that have amazing results. And there are some great examples for us to learn: Waldorf schools and the Steiner schools and so forth. So we can learn so much from the existing models that are not mainstream education system models, right? But we can add so much more, right? Now, I've spoken about the education system ad nauseum, and we need to completely deconstruct what our children are being taught at school right now and really identify what are the true skills for life that we need to start teaching our children from the earliest of ages. And most of the stuff, like Plato said, wise man he was. Plato said that learning and education or teaching without play is almost impossible, or something to that effect. That teaching without play is a waste of time. So we need to include and make sure that I don't want to use the word incorporate. So we want to include as many elements of play and interaction into all our educational activities, from teaching children the importance of soil, the ground, compost, water, how seeds grow, how to plant seeds, how to take care of seedlings, how important it is to grow food, how to store water, how to make sure, how to energize water, and etc. So all the things to do with growing food, as just from the youngest of ages, so people start to learn the love for Mother Earth, for soil, for understanding the importance of growing food, and that food comes from the ground and not from a supermarket. And that every child, by the time they are 10 years old, can grow pretty much any kind of seed that you throw at them. They know exactly what to do with it. They know how to prepare the soil. They know the conditions it should be growing in. They know the kind of, where certain foods grow and so forth. This comes easily to children when you're young. This is information that you'll absorb like a thirsty sponge when you're young, right? And you're gonna love it. Children love that kind of stuff, to learn about insects and animals and the open field and the wildlife and plants and fauna and flora, all these things. Medicinal plants, very important to start teaching children from an earliest age, and reintroducing the importance of medicinal plants. That there is a ton, hundreds of millions of pages of information written about ancient medicinal plants that are very well researched, very well documented, and yet we don't teach that at school at all. And yet this is the information that our pharmaceutical companies use when they develop new drugs. If you're not aware of this, then you really missed a big trick here. So our pharmaceutical companies look at the medicinal plants that have been used for thousands of years, and they look at the active ingredients in those plants. Then they extract that active ingredient, they manufacture it synthetically, and then they patent that active ingredient by some other name so that other people can't make it. However, that active ingredient is already available in a very similar form, and often quite the same form, in existing medicinal plants that grow around the world in specific areas. So this is very important that we focus extensively on medicinal plants as part of our education system. That will obviously spill over into our whole healthcare system and benefit our whole healthcare system and our clinics and hospitals and healing centers in our communities. So you see how inextricably connected all this is. It starts with education and knowledge and sharing of knowledge and true wisdom. And that's, wisdom and knowledge is not always the same thing, or being clever and being wise are not the same thing. So we need to make sure that we inject all this at the right level, at the right time, in the right quantities, and with the right kind of passion, with the right kind of teachers that are experts at what they're doing. It needs to be injected into our education system from the earliest of ages. And I've always believed that once we've set up the Yeah, and that obviously goes for mathematics and science and physics, all experiential stuff. Nothing we teach our children should ever be theoretical. Everything we do must always be fully experiential. Even literature and history and so forth. We need to experience these things. So, and that changes your perception, especially when you start to do this with young minds that are still hungry for knowledge and information. It changes the way we grow up, the way we perceive the world around us, the way we perceive other people, the way we start to break down the whole racial BS that is happening around the world. It's just atrocious what's going on, and how this it's just terrible to see what's happening with the race baiting and uh, and the instigators that are out there to constantly put people at odds with each other. Well, we need to make sure that we break that down in our communities, and we start at the most fundamental level. So by the time we grow up, we are proud of who we are. We are proud of being an African or an Asian or an American or a European or whatever you may be, whatever culture you may be, whatever race or color you may be. We all need to be proud of who we are and live our lives honorably, respecting others for who they are, and treating others the way we'd like to be treated ourselves. I'm getting completely distracted now. So, education. Very important that we use the best educators out there. Just because somebody studied to be a teacher doesn't make them a good teacher. And this is one of the fundamental problems we have in our education systems. People study to be teachers because, and I say there are millions and millions of incredible teachers, people who teach for the right reasons because they love to teach and they're really good at teaching, whether it's a math teaching or art teachers or physical education or whatever. So they are unquestionably amazing teachers. But at the same time, there are an incredible number of completely useless teachers that are just an absolute waste of money and a waste of time. And they actually destroy the minds of our children. And I know, I just think that some of the teachers that I had at school, they were completely useless. And the fact that a teacher can't explain something to you in a subject that you're taking, whether it's maths or science or calculus or whatever it is. I remember when I started to study one thing at university, and I'm not going to mention, well, I started to study chemical engineering, and I wanted to be a chemical engineer. And after 6 months, I could not understand what some of the lecturers were teaching me. For a long time, I thought it was my fault. And then I realized, no, it's not my fault. If they can't explain to me what they're trying to explain to me, I'm a smart guy. I understand things. I know what's going on. So if they couldn't explain to me what was going on, it's not my fault. They're a bad teacher. And I changed. I left engineering, chemical engineering. I went to pharmacy school. And it was literally like I walked into a different time warp, a different universe. The teachers are amazing. They explained everything. They took their time. They explained calculus. They explained organic chemistry and inorganic chemistry and in the practicals, chemistry practicals, they took time. They explained to you how these experiments work, why you should do this, why you should do that. And so it's just amazing how if you have bad teachers, you're going to have students that don't perform well. And we don't ever want to teach our children that they fail. That's one of the problems that I've always had. It's a terrible thing that you tell young children that you failed, you're a failure. No, just because they're not good at something doesn't mean they're not smart or they're useless or they're going to grow up to be useless. Everybody has their skill sets. We need to identify the special skills of our children at the earliest of ages and let them choose what they want to focus on. Let them choose what they want to learn about instead of forcing them down a rabbit hole. Because as you grow old, you know from your personal experiences, when you were younger, you had an interest in bugs, and then suddenly I became interested in guitars. Then I was interested in something else. Then I was interested in writing scripts. Then I was interested wow, I've got a buzzing fly here. And then I was interested in other things, and I was so you keep changing your interest. You're finding new interests as you go. Then I took karate, then I took wrestling, and all these different interests, right? So we've got to make sure that we allow our children to choose the things that they're interested in and they want to learn about, because then they will learn it with an open heart and open mind. And if we find the right teachers to teach them, that teach it as passionately as the children want to learn it, we have a perfect match. And that's how I envisage the One Small Town school system and the curriculums being set up. And also, one of the main things I'm quite passionate about, the One Small Town education system that I've been envisaging. Obviously, using teachers that are the best possible teachers, but also bringing in experts in their fields that are not necessarily always taught. Like there might be an expert in quantum mechanics that's lecturing the world. We might want to bring somebody like Nassim Haramein to come and do a lecture for a week and spend a week with our students and teach them about what his research has been, and talk about and bring teachers that teach about consciousness and spend a few days teaching about consciousness and doing experiments about doing experiments about mind projection and like the movie Third Eye Spies, teaching remote viewing and things that are outside of the box, because we choose that we can do that for ourselves and for our children. I'm just throwing this at you because we need to change the way our education system works completely, because right now it's a freaking mess. All it does is create it makes our children feel that a lot of them feel that they're stupid, that they're no good to anyone, that they can't succeed in life because your teachers and your grades tell you that you're failing just because you don't have an interest in the subject. That should never happen in any education system. If a child isn't doing well in a specific subject, then we need to say to him, well, what else would you like to learn? That's obviously not your cup of tea. What are you interested in, right? So I think I've said enough about this. So I believe that once we have the One Small Town education system up and running, by the time our children reach the age of 16, they'll be smarter and wiser, especially wiser, than all the bloody professors at tertiary institutions in the world combined. Okay, that's my absolute belief, because they'll be exposed to knowledge and information and real wisdom that our current education system, both school and university, does not teach us. So I'm really looking forward to that taking off in 2025 and seeing some of the first One Small Town schools and education systems and colleges getting off the ground. That's going to be awesome to see. Right, how much time have we done here? I have no idea how long we've been going here. Where does it tell me time on this? That's amazing. I can't see the time. So let's just carry on. Now we're going to talk about competition. Competition is something that many people believe drives innovation, drives success, drives companies to be successful. And to a certain extent it is. Competition is what has driven capitalism to become very successful. But I've always seen competition as a two-way street, because competition is also incredibly destructive. So on the one hand, it drives innovation, it drives, inventors and technology, and it drives every possible, in agriculture and so forth, competition. But at the same time, it destroys, because competition is what drives big corporations to swallow up all the small companies that are their opposition, so that they don't have any opposition and no competition. So by nature, think about this. If you take competition, and I'm talking about two types of competition. Sorry, so let me first define it. So there's a constructive competition, constructive competitive environment, and there's a destructive competitive environment. In the one where people compete in a friendly environment without trying to destroy each other, and there are some great examples of that I can get into. And then there's another environment where people compete to destroy each other, to destroy a certain company, so that they're no longer competitors of yours, so that you can maximize the capitalist and the profitability of their markets. So, you steal their markets and you take over the market where you are the biggest, and no one can compete with you because you're the biggest. So in essence, what have we done? cold capitalism, or hardcore cold toxic capitalism, if you want to call it that, ultimately leads to almost communism, because now you got one large corporation, one large government, several large corporations that run everything. There's one corporation in every industry that controls and manipulates everything. And that leads to zero innovation, except if that innovation benefits that corporation and enslaves you as a user or a customer more and more. So cold competition and toxic competition is incredibly bad for humanity. In fact, I've said over and over again that it is the anti-human initiative, anti-human formula is hard, cold capitalist competition, because it takes over and tries to control everything. You try and get to the top of the mountain, and when you get to the top of the mountain, everyone else is trying to get up there to knock you off your perch, and that's just how it goes. So it's this never-ending struggle to be the biggest and the strongest, so you can fight everybody off and have the biggest market share in the world, and that's not good for anyone. So what the One Small Town initiative does in terms of competition, because we as a community share the benefits of a specific product or a company or a service, that means that we will strive to get the best service. So, for example, when I say competition in a cooperative spirit, we might say, all right, let's put together a bunch of inventors in a room and say, we'll break you up into 5 groups, and let's see which group comes up with a solution, with a cure for cancer. Who comes up with a cure for cancer first? Or who comes up with a free energy device first? Or who comes up with the best new formula for cornflakes? Or God knows what, right? And that becomes a productive, cooperative spirit where the people are competing against each other, but within a cooperative environment, where they know that whoever wins this is going to be held as a hero. Wow, well done, you're so smart. But those that have lost are not going to lose their jobs, lose their livelihood, end up on the street, and basically be seen to be losers because their businesses or their ideas lost. So that changes everything. And that's how One Small Town works. We look at the best options. What is best? How can we find the best way to plant corn? Or what is the best way to take care of our children? What is the best way to do this? And what's the best way to make clothing and materials? And we explore all the best. And those people that don't end up with the best ideas, and that doesn't mean that they're no longer, that they're losers and they're going to lose everything. No, they're going to be part of this, of the system that we've chosen as a community. And until we find something better, then we shift from that to the better one, because that's what we choose, because we make those decisions as a community and we vote on that. We say, no, this old system no longer works for us. We need to start using this new system that's been presented to us by our new inventors in town. So it is a dynamic system that keeps growing. It's a breathing, it's evolving, it's a living system, One Small Town. So One Small Town participates and embraces competition in a cooperative spirit, where we collaborate on competing and to find the best solutions for a specific problem, and then use that solution so that everybody in our community benefits from that. Not the person that invented that or that came up with that idea at the cost and at the expense of everybody else. That's not how it works. We will then celebrate the inventor of the specific, whatever it is they've come up with, whether it's, processing sewage in our community so that we can use the sewage and we get clean water that is cleaner than fresh water, and we can use the rest of the sewage as compost or whatever it is. And that all these solutions already are there. The solutions for most of the problems that we face, and this is something that some people are not aware of. So if you're not aware of this yet, please take this at face value. Let this sink in. This is a serious, quite a serious statement I'm going to make here. And I really believe that this is the case because of what I've seen, the technologies that I've seen, the inventors that I've met over a 20-year period or even longer, the incredible technologies that have been presented to the world. make me understand this slightly differently to most people around the world. The solutions, the problems that we face in the world already have solutions ready to solve those problems. Whether it's the supply of electricity, whether it's the desalination of water, whether it's cleaning up the air, whether it's cleaning up the water, rivers and the oceans and oil spills, whatever it is, curing cancer, curing all kinds of other diseases, curing, helping quadriplegics walk. Yes, I mean that. So we pretty much have the solutions for all the problems we face. However, the solutions that have been presented by our incredible inventors in all the different spheres, these have been suppressed, and that's why they're not being used. And they were suppressed by whom? By those big corporations that have a global interest in destroying their competitors. And in one small town, we're turning that around. We're going to allow the inventions that our inventors come up with to benefit our communities in whichever way we find possible. And that changes everything. So when I talk about competition, that competition is not always good. Please understand where I'm coming from, because I know some people are going to try and take my words and twist it and make me look like some crazy person that believes in communism or that kind of crap. I'm talking about toxic competition where the big corporations destroy all the opposition so that they can rule the roost, as opposed to the constructive competition, a competition within a cooperative spirit or a cooperative environment, where we compete against each other and see whose inventions and products and etc. and services are the best, and then we use that so that it benefits all of us. And if we keep doing that, we just keep improving and improving, and our lives keep improving with that. So that was a competition, the mother of all inventions, absolutely. But the mother of all inventions must be used correctly so it benefits the community, the members, and not the inventors or the corporations that own these technologies at the expense of everybody else. And that's the world we find ourselves in. Most of the technologies, whether it's telecommunication and healthcare, etc., all those are controlled by large corporations that benefit those at the expense of everybody else. We are changing that. So I think I've gone through pretty much everything I wanted to go through in this final podcast of 2024, because I really wanted to be a motivating message, and I hope I've done some of that. I hope I'm leaving you with a positive view of what we're doing, what we've achieved. If I look back at where we were just even a year ago, it's incredible what we've done, especially with the new technology that we've developed, starting from nowhere, using the funds that we've raised to build this technology that is now going to become the funding tool and the golden goose that'll keep laying the golden eggs that funds the one small town growth around the world. And that will ultimately affect the value of the infinity token. The moment we become self-sufficient and self-funding, and our monthly income from the technology keeps growing and allow us to do more and more in one small town around the world, that will obviously have a dynamic and an immediate impact on the value of the infinity token and the number of people that join one small town, the number of towns that launch, and the value of the token keeps growing up, growing up and going up. Yes. So just that in the last 12 months, what we've done with our technology is unbelievable. I could not have imagined 12 months ago that this is where we would be, that we would have a game-changing breakthrough technology that is completely unique in the world. And again, I'm not mentioning what kind of technology, because this is going to be utilized as a funding mechanism for the one small town offices around the world. And that's going to impact the success of every small town we launch, of the value of the tokens, being able to fund every business that we put together in the business plan that we put together for every one small town, and so on and so on. And the snowball is just going to start rolling in early 2025, and it'll just keep gathering and gathering more and more snow as that snowball rolls around the world from country to country. I believe the USA, the UK, and South Africa are going to be the 3 countries that are going to really make the first splash. And I hope that Australia and New Zealand and some other English-speaking countries will follow. Ireland, obviously, and let's see how this unfolds into other language countries. Some very exciting discussions with ambassadors in some of our other countries like Brazil and Croatia and Italy and France and Spain and so forth. So the problem, obviously, understand is that everything we've done is in English. And to allow another language group to use the entire platform and everything is done in English is a huge job. We've spent all this time building and coding the platform and everything around it and all the functionality in it that can operate everything from the memberships to the tokens to the trading of the tokens to the One Small Town stores and the gallery and so forth. And to translate all of that into other languages and have someone look after that and be able to answer emails and respond to people, that's a huge new step, but we're going to get there very soon. What I do believe, however, is that some of these other language countries are going to play an important role in initiating some of this new technology that we have so that we create some funds available for that growth of One Small Town in those countries. So that's really critical. So what am I saying in a sense? I'm saying don't lose faith in the One Small Town infinity token. It's just going to go up and up and up. We're just getting out of the starting blocks. We just got into the starting blocks and the gun's about to go off. I know I used this metaphor before when we got to the previous stage. Now we got to this stage and it really feels like we're now getting into the starting blocks all over again, but much bigger starting blocks with far more potential because we now know that we're in control of our future because of this new technology that I mentioned and the funding that comes from it. So I just mentioned another word there that I need to remind you of, and that's our gallery. So please, if you're an artist anywhere around the world and you want to sell your art, you want to join the exciting, revolutionary new way that art is going to be sold around the world, get on board right now. Go on onesmalltown.org, sign up to be a member, then log in to be a member, and then apply to be an artist, then log in again, and then as an artist, as an approved artist, you can then upload your art. Click Upload My Art, and then you'll go through uploading your art. Why is it so different? Because the moment you upload your art, and you go through the process of turning your art into a physical NFT, not a digital NFT or the way that NFTs have been skewed and bastardized and confusing people's minds around the world. And if you're going to attack me, I know there are going to be people out there, crypto heads and people like that are going to attack me for this. And I'm happy to take anyone in a discussion about this, because what we're doing is always physical and tangible with One Small Town. Physical, tangible stuff that people do. Remember, people do everything. We're the ones that build the bridges, that build the rockets, and that do the things. And we're the ones that can love and show compassion and help others and heal the sick and the wounded. People do everything. Money does nothing. Everything else is just a tool that is used by the people to achieve what we want to achieve. So let that sink in again. We are the ones that do everything. And that's why we can achieve everything and anything we set our minds to. Because we know that the tools are there. And if we don't have the tools, we know where to fetch the tools or how to create the tools for ourselves. So the One Small Town Art Gallery, sign up. What happens is once you've gone through as an artist, signing up your art, and you've turned it into an NFT, that work of art will remain on the OST, our art gallery. And every time it is resold by the existing owner or the future owner, so that it retains its chain of title and proof of authenticity. So any owner of an art is going to want to prove that it's an authentic work of art and that it's not a fraud. Or any buyer of future art is going to insist on a certificate or a proof of authenticity. And that's what we're initiating here. We're creating a whole chain of title, a whole new link of proving that the art that you're buying is the authentic piece of art. And because of that, we can then pay all our artists an ongoing 10% royalty of all their art whenever it is sold into the future, as long as it sells on our platform and the certificate of authenticity is passed on to the new owner or the new buyer. So this is critical. This is game changing. And I believe it's going to change the way that art is sold in the world. And this is a pioneering event that Once More Time has created. And I'm so excited to say that we're getting an incredible wave of amazing artists that are signing up and uploading their art. So you'll see more and more art appear on the landing page. As soon as we have enough works of art that have been loaded, we will then plan the first official Once More Time auction on a specific date. I trust it'll be sometime in January 2025, where we'll announce and do a big PR around the first Once More Time Art Gallery auction. That'll be the first time that those works of art will go on auction. I'll initiate that chain reaction that I've just mentioned and spoken about. So if you're an artist, it doesn't matter where you live, what country you are, sign up as a member, then apply to be an artist. Once you've been approved as an artist, then you can go and click on Upload My Art. And there's also videos on our new page. We've introduced a new page on the oncemalltown.org website. Go to the how-to page. You'll see, if you click on the menu, it'll drop down and you'll see one of the new pages there is how-to. Click on that and there's all these new videos that we've used, lots of AI assisted videos to help us make them quicker, to show you how to do this, how to do that, how to upload your art, how to become a member, how to buy tokens, how to sell your tokens, all these things. So there's definitely videos that will help you as an artist to become a member and an artist and how to upload your art. So I think I've now pretty much shared everything I wanted to share with you on this last podcast of 2024. And I want to say thank you to all our amazing patrons around the world. Thank you for your ongoing support. Thank you for the incredible Once More Time members that have signed up around the world and keep growing in numbers. Thank you for the ambassadors of the past that have come and gone. Thank you for the time that you spent in our company and with me, building this, laying the foundation that taught us so many lessons that we're now implementing and learning from, that have made us so much wiser and stronger and more confident to go into the future. So to all the ambassadors and all the people that have helped us in so many ways, from the IT people and in so many different countries around the world, it's impossible to name them and remember all of them because they've come over the years and gone. But I know that without the help of those people, I would not be here today, and the Once More Time initiative would not be alive today. So thank you to everybody. And I wish you a beautiful end of the year, a very, very Merry Christmas, and be blessed, be safe, go with grace and ease, be kind to each other, be kind to everyone. And I will see you in 2025. I'm not sure when I'm going to do the first podcast in 2025, but I'll put it out on social media and on our news page on the Once More Time website. So until next time, I'm sending everybody loads and loads of love from my heart to everyone. I'll see you in 2025. Until then, bye for now.